Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited. I have such a love affair with Chiron. So, I mean, wow. So I'm excited to like dive deeper into all things astrology, especially Chiron, because it has been definitely a journey of me discovering my wounded healer. So, um, my name is Vaughn Piero. I live outside of Atlanta. I am a breathwork teacher, and well, I feel like my work has definitely transcended beyond breath work. But it's that's a basic thing that most people can now understand what breath work is, which is a connected pattern of breath. Um, but I have created a methodology called the Holy Breath Method, where we use our breath and our body to become one with ourselves. And when we become one with ourselves, we become one with God, and we remember our divinity, we remember our holiness and that beautiful light within, and be able to really connect to that light within, our gifts within, and to be able to share that version of ourselves and with the world, in whatever capacity that your world looks like, right? And so I basically I'm 52 now, and I guess you could say I had my spiritual awakening like right around the age of 43. I At that time I had been practicing massage therapy for 23 years. I loved doing massage. I was really good at it. I would have never, ever, ever in a million years at that time considered myself a healer, although I was literally laying hands on people, healing their bodies. But like, I was just so disconnected from that version of myself that would dare think that they were powerful and had beautiful healing gifts within themselves. I had no idea who I really truly was. And I just kept feeling like this deep nudge in my soul saying, there's more, there's more, there's more. And I was like, what? I mean, like everything on paper looked perfect in my life. I had a thriving business, a great husband, healthy kids, like everything was really good. And so I just was like, why would I want more? Everything's fine. It's fine. But it's that fine that'll get you. But the soul just started speaking so loudly through me that it was manifesting through sickness. I was having a lot of gut health issues. Just physically, my body was communicating to me, and it was through, making myself feel better that I really just got onto a personal growth journey, which turned into a spiritual growth journey, which turned into a healing journey, which turned into me living this version of myself now that is just so freaking happy. I could have never, ever, ever imagined that this life existed for me, that I could feel this happy and abundant and be working with other incredible women. Mostly I work with women, um, because I do believe that we are here to help heal the suppressed feminine, and the feminine energy will heal this wounded humanity right now. So I'm really, really passionate about helping to heal the feminine aspect. And I know that once we heal the feminine aspect, that feminine aspect will help heal the masculine. And then from there, we'll have that beautiful divine balance, and we get to dance and co-create with each other in that way. So now I have my 23 years of massage therapy where I know the body, and I have the past 7, 8 years where I've really been diving into understanding the emotional and energetic components of the body of life, and I bring those two together, and I host classes, one-on-one experiences, retreats, and yeah, so that's pretty much my work. It's really deep, it's really soul led, soul embodied, and it's it's amazing, and I really love this journey. But it has been quite the journey for me to get to this place of, dare I say, wholeness, because I believe we're all whole, but there is definitely something that, and I know that my healing is never complete, but to feel whole equals holy, right? And so I feel just so connected to who I am. And I've done a lot of work to get to this place where I let my heart lead. And it feels really good at this time in my life. So I'm really enjoying the benefits of this journey now.
Mm.
It's been beautiful.
Yeah, wow, awesome. I love that. And you mentioned wholeness, and that makes me think a little bit about the Jungian idea of the path of individuation, and how and even with Chiron, the symbolism of Chiron, it's like we're never fully completely arrived, but the idea of that we find this sense of wholeness through that individual journey and that path forward in our lives, and being able to continue to have the courage. As you said, it hasn't always been easy. It's not been a walk in the park. It has required probably a lot of confrontation with difficult shadow, like what Jung would call shadow stuff. And as that comes up to heal, then it gets integrated, and then we get to have more levels or layers of wholeness. And so I think just looking kind of at your astrology chart, you just spoke Chiron, right? Like the idea of never being fully completely healed, but always continuing to work on it. And you have that signature as in your chart of that, and you're familiar with where Chiron is in your chart, but that idea of the leadership energy, the Aries energy of not just doing it for yourself, but then that sense of responsibility, maybe that innate feeling of responsibility that you're demonstrating something in the visibility that you and the leadership that that you step into and that you're stepping into. Um, and that you have been involved in. I think it's really interesting about what you said with like doing massage therapy, and you have like a specific type of massage therapy that is anatomically like very um it's I don't know what the word for it is, but it's like rigorous. Like you
Yeah.
go deep
Yeah.
just in
It
the
was
physical body.
yeah, it was neuromuscular massage therapy. So we really worked on the full body, like where we would work on the attachments and the muscle and everything that's connected to everything. So it was definitely like deep, deep massage. I know the body very, very, very
Mm.
well. Yeah. And so it's just super fun to now understand the emotional reason why people's physical body hurt, right? Like, and to be able to understand just through experience of working through so many bodies now with the emotional energetic components of things, and then just putting it all together. It's so exciting,
What's
because for
Mm.
so many years, like how much deeper and stronger my massage practice could have been if I had been connected to that emotional component of things.
what's
Mm.
changed with the emotional for you? Like when you're specifying that you came into some new emotional area. Like how what is there something that like sort of embodies that, like a certain practice, or what do you mean by that?
Um, so like when I'm talking
What
about the emotional
Yeah,
like I
what
work on the
changed?
emotional component. Yeah. I feel like what changed is I okay, I'm a Cancer, right? Like I'm a Cancer sun and a Cancer rising. So I feel very, very, very deeply. So when I
South
would be
Node too. You
working
have South Node
yeah, yeah.
almost in
So
in
it's
orbit. This well, it's
It's big.
yeah,
It's no,
it's
it's
close
yeah,
close to the
it's
sun.
there. Hmm.
yeah, so
Yeah, it's
the
active.
emotion runs deep through my chart and through my physical being. And for so long, I personally suppressed my own emotion, mainly because people would make fun of me for being so emotional. So I
Mm.
would not be emotional so that because I would not only feel my own pain, but because of who I am, I would feel other people's pain as well very deeply. And I just didn't know that that's who I was. And so just being bombarded with all this emotion and not understanding how to process it properly, all of it just got stuck within me. And so part of my healing journey has been not only healing my own emotion and understanding what I had suppressed my entire life, but also the emotion and energy that I had acquired through other people just because I'm such a deep feeler. And so that was like just made my healing so deep, and me allowing myself to finally feel and feel my emotion and let it be and move through me. And that's why I'm so passionate about the breath, because the breath is like a gust of wind that moves through your body, that allows it to, the breath will stir it up, and then the breath will also help you exhale it, will help you leave it through your body. And so I realized that I'm not the only one that's carrying around a lot of suppressed emotion. And that suppressed emotion is the very thing that causes dis-ease in the body, frustration in the body. It is the thing that keeps us congested and keeping us from our true light. It's like true congestion in the body. So when I started working with the breath and giving myself, it started with myself first. When I started working with the breath and allowing myself to be with my emotion and allow myself to feel the bigness of my emotion, because for so long it was made fun of. And so here I am, like finally giving myself permission to be with my emotions, no matter whether it was mine or someone else's, whether it had a label or not a label. And I just let it move through me, just release, because my body was like, thank you, Jesus. We're finally letting this energy move through your body. And so once I like understood that that's how emotion worked in the body and how we shove shit down, that we
Mhm.
just keep shoving it. And if we don't clear it out, then it's just going to stay stuck in our body. So that's what I mean with the emotional component of working with people and within myself first, and now with other people.
I'm hearing that
Mm.
Libra moon. Like
Yeah,
you
tell me
even just
more.
said when you said that shoving it down, I'm like, yeah, into your fourth house Libra moon down at the bottom of your chart. It's like a
Yeah.
nervous, it's like you have a nervous, or I don't know now, but like what you're describing, your problem was almost like a nervous, emotional nature. And that's like Libra moon. I'm familiar because my oldest son is a Libra rising, Libra moon.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
his
Okay.
moon
Yeah.
and ascendant are conjunct. And
Yeah.
yeah, so he's very concerned about what other people think to the point where it's
Yeah.
damaging to himself. And that's why I hear you saying.
100%. Yes, absolutely. And so therefore knowing that, and then in comes my Chiron in Aries, where
Where
I
that,
care
Mhm.
deeply about
yeah.
what other people think because of my Libra moon. I mean, it's been a shit show of healing. I mean, it's been pretty intense. I'm
Chiron
not
is
gonna lie.
pretty intense on your chart because it's part of that cardinal grand cross. So
Mm,
because Chiron is square your ascendant descendant and opposing your Uranus, also
Mhm.
your moon slightly because you're kind of
So,
moon
yeah,
Uranus.
so right. So what that actually it kind of equates to that you're going through this, and Pluto, let's not forget, was squaring your moon. So all this transformation in terms of the temporality, the time space continuum of when you were going through this deep emotional healing and releasing, because the fourth house is the most private place. That's it's very private. It's the roots of your being. So to have the moon there, and that is the ruler of the chart, then you've been going through this Plutonian kind of death rebirth process in the deepest part of your psyche. But because, like you said, Chiron is there, and like Aaron is kind of referring to this T square you have, every part of your life becomes affected by this transformation. And in some ways, you're having to do it publicly, or you're being called to, or you were called to almost
yeah.
be visible as you're going through this because you've got Chiron on the midheaven, right? It's like what the world is seeing. You're having to, because of that call or that soul contract or however, it's like that you're not just going to do it in private. You're going to have to like share with the world how to do it themselves, how
Yeah.
others can liberate themselves in this way. Um, and, when you said that, Erin, about like the Libra moon, I was thinking about, as you were talking, Vaughn, with like the idea and the desire to nurture with Cancer. It's like the desire to care for, nurture, and help other people and serve in that emotional capacity. But then having the moon in Libra and the sign of, in some ways, understanding what was yours and what was someone else's may have taken quite a long time, and maybe you're still you're still discerning that in certain ways, or you're kind of, because if everyone else was okay emotionally, then it's like a lot of times with Libra moon, it's like if everyone else is okay, then I'm okay. If
Yeah.
everyone's not okay, then I'm not okay. And but knowing and kind of saying, okay, that they might not be okay, that I might not be able to fix that or change that, or so kind of
Yeah.
figuring out what's mine, what's theirs, and all of that has been, I'm sure, interesting.
Yeah, it really has been. And it's really fascinating the way that through my own healing, how my healing gifts have expanded so much. And so, to your point, Susan, the way that I am is I am such a clear channel at this point for
Mm,
I can be with, if I'm having a one-on-one session, it's like I literally become that person and I can feel in my body what their body is feeling. And so that's how I know how to move the emotion or move their body, or because I feel it in me. So it's like I'm a reflection of them. I feel it so deeply that we're healing together, but we're healing through my body. It's like the trippiest, wildest thing that I've ever
mm,
experienced. And it's like the more I clear out my own stuff, and I can tell, when I'm murky, when I'm not in my practice of like keeping my own channel clear, my work is not as profound, right? So it's like really important to me that I keep my emotional health and hygiene like really clean and clear. So at this point, I know my body and my emotions and my nervous system so well that I can click in. I can click in and click out of like my stuff and versus their stuff. So it's pretty
yeah.
cool to to like witness myself as that version of myself, because I never would have thought that was available to me.
Yes, yes. And like you said, that is the gift of the moon, right? Because, and I've seen you, I have to say to Erin too, because I don't think I've mentioned this to you. Like I've seen you do some of that work, probably not the deepest, because I think you probably do, I know you do group work and you
Yeah,
do
we've done
personal,
group stuff.
individual. And then we were in an event in Atlanta together that you invited me to that did involve, I mean, you were the facilitator. You actually stepped up and stepped in with the facilitator at that event, and you supported her in a pretty transformative, powerful, emotional release and experience and healing kind of experience that she was going through. And I can see when you describe that idea of like almost that you're merging energetically, that water energy, that intuitive energy is getting in and kind of merging to an extent, but with awareness of like where one person ends and the other. I know I can kind of, I can kind of sense what you're talking about with that, because um there isn't you know, the lines kind of the lines blur,
Yeah.
so that the work can be done. And, um, I remember asking you one time when we had a session, an astrology session, because I've known you now since I think 2013, and you were on the
Yeah.
tail end you were doing massage therapy, but you were still very much in that place, I think, on the threshold before you said, well, what happens if I kind of jump off this and go deeper, like the call was there and you were in the transition. But I remember asking you at one point with Jupiter, because we thought Jupiter was in your seventh house at the time, about whether you preferred group work or individual more. Have you come to any different, you have natal Jupiter in Aquarius in the eighth house. And so Jupiter there brings a lot of gifts with eighth house themes. And eighth house has a lot to do with like transformation and healing. And I mean, there's a lot of signatures. You get a lot of hits in the healing energy in your chart. But, do you, at this point in your work, do you have, because at the time, I think you said, I like working more in group, there was you were enjoying the group work. I remember that much. So
Yeah.
do you have a preference now with where you are in your work?
Yeah, I so appreciate that question because it has definitely evolved. I remember really preferring group stuff. And I love groups, whether it's, 5 people, 50 people, 100 people. Like it's amazing like how I'm able to like lead a group of 100 people through an experience like that and like still be me and yet not feel everyone's stuff, but feel the collective energy of it to help lead the experience. Um, but I think at the time my one-on work, I don't think I was as clear of a channel, and it was a little confusing for me. Like, it's like I didn't know exactly how to facilitate the depth of work that I can facilitate now. And so now, because I fully can discern like what's mine and what's theirs, and I am that clear of a channel. Um, I really, really love the one-on-one stuff. I mean, it trips me out so big time. Like where we go on the multidimensional field and frequency. I mean, it's deep, deep, deep work. And so every session I ever have, I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea that was possible or available to experience that. So it's like it's in those one-on-one experiences that I get to experience me as a healer that is evolving and that is doing deeper and deeper, deeper work, because it's harder for me to connect to that depth of work when I am facilitating a large group, because I'm holding space for a larger group, right? So when it's just me and one person, it's like we can go so much deeper. We can go to so many other dimensions and places for healing to happen. And so I feel like now that my body and my spirit is just so connected to that, it's like I really, really actually love the one-on-one stuff.
Wow, yeah. That's interesting with Jupiter now in the eighth, now that we know your exact birth time, because it changes from a seventh house Jupiter and Jupiter in Aquarius, which is I think it's going to be really important, an important archetype for you and probably be very activated by this now Pluto in the sign of Aquarius that's going to cross over that Jupiter. But eighth house has everything to do with intimacy and shared energy. And it does tend to be very much perhaps deeper than like seventh house Jupiter, right? Like
Yeah.
Jupiter eighth house can go very, very deep, and it can kind of go to the places of healing within the psyche. Therapy, like therapy is, depth psychology, all of those things are there. But Erin, I'm like, so I'm asking a lot of questions. I want to give you a chance to ask from and kind of respond to anything that you've been listening to and that, um, yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking
Go.
at Jupiter and you started talking about Jupiter, so I was like, oh, okay. Because I was looking at
Uh,
Placidus versus whole sign. And her
mhm,
Jupiter is seventh house in Placidus and eighth
mhm,
in whole sign. And when she was just talking about the group versus the individual, I was like, where's Jupiter at? And I was like, oh, okay. Jupiter's
mhm,
in the seventh house. So the other, so your
mhm.
expansion, right? Your place of your good luck, right? But then the seventh is like would be more other people, like moving from seventh to eighth, right? Because eighth is more one-on-one type of relationship, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Seventh is like
Yeah.
the other, but eighth is like staring the other in the eyes, kind of thing.
That's so interesting. Yeah, that's so cool how that transition kinda happened, because I yeah, that's really, really cool to
Well,
understand.
and I'm interested on the timing for that for a couple reasons, and um, of when this big shift happened for you, right? Because your Chiron return has been past year or two, because I think now Chiron's like 20, is it 24 degrees right now, Susan? Chiron or 22? It's just past, so it's separating. So your Chiron return is kind of on the, it's kind of over-ish, the big
Standing
Yeah, it
change.
was
ovation.
exact.
Ovation.
But then
Yeah, it was exact in March of 2020.
the other
Sorry.
thing that's
I was trying to give you the
interesting,
exact date.
that I've noticed, I have this aspect as well, as the Jupiter Venus opposition. You have it's almost exact, like it's 4 seconds off of exact. So that's a
Oh,
very
really?
strong aspect. Like your Jupiter Venus are like connected via the opposition. I have that too, and like in my chart, the only way my Jupiter has a means of expressing itself is via its opposition to Venus, because I have Jupiter at the IC at the bottom of my chart in the fourth house, and like Jupiter for me is like it's retrograde, it's in Virgo, it's like it's like you know just put upon, and it just can't express itself, and the only way it has out is through Venus. So I wonder with your, because you have that same, and it's one of the tightest aspects for me as well. It's like under a degree apart. And yours is like 4 seconds. Like it's almost exact, that opposition. So that's interesting. And I wonder about timing with that. Also, Jupiter now is around your sun ascendant by transit. So Jupiter for you now should be really coming to light, right? Because it's conjuncting. Where's Jupiter right now, Susan? It's 20. It's like, is it 15 Cancer,
Uh,
16? So I just looked this
yes,
morning.
I was actually,
I
yeah, I
think
was
it's
like
like
back in time
15.
looking, I believe. Yeah, let's see. I was looking to see when her Chiron was exact. I can pop it forward. Let's see. Okay, it is at 18, no, 16, 16
Yeah. So it's
degrees.
on her sun.
So it's on her sun. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
Uh-huh.
which means that it would have recently passed over her south node. So that, but
Mhm.
with the timing on the whole transformation that you've had, your healing transformation emotionally, it's really looking like the shift for you was your Chiron return. At 50, that happens around 51 years old, like for on average, right? But like it's just ending. So it's like I've noticed for me, a lot of times with these transiting aspects, for me at least, they really you see them manifesting more after the aspect is in its separating stage, right? So like where your Chiron is now, whatever fruits of your Chiron return you could expect is that you should have been seeing them here in the past, I would say, like now in the past year or so, that those things
Yeah,
should really be coming to fruition. So that was a lot, but that's what
100%.
all I was thinking during all that.
No, you're exactly right. Like 2025 for me was the most incredible year of my entire life. Like it was, I mean, I was like a flower that bloomed. I was living my best life. I literally traveled so many places all over the world. It was just like abundance upon abundance upon abundance. I mean, but it was like you said, the fruits of my labor. Like that was last year. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is what I've been working my ass off for, is for this level of peace and abundance and joy that I am experiencing right now.
So Susan,
Mm.
I wish I should just go get my ephemera so I can I can answer these questions without asking you. But um,
Yeah,
I'm all old school. I do all books, Vaughn. I don't
Yeah.
use, so I'm always going to Susan for like she had to send me your charts, because like I do them by hand, so it's a lot of work.
oh,
So
so
I'm not just
cool.
gonna just do a chart by hand for something like this, right? So I'm always like, Susan, I need this chart, I need that chart.
Yeah.
Anyway, my ephemeris is in the other room, but I'm wondering, like the timing, Susan, for when did Chiron
Uh-huh.
get to like 18 degrees or so Aries for the first time? Like
Right.
when would that have been?
Yeah, so for the first time, so it made it its last exact conjunction March of 2025, but before that, it was hovering and made a couple different passes. And let's see, the first one, because I'm having to flip the clock back here, but it looks like the first time it crossed over and the north node was there at the same time, which is so wild. But yeah, the north node was transiting, and it would have been like the beginning of 2024, like January, February 2024. Chiron made the first crossover of the exact Chiron, and
Oh,
the
that's the
north node was
first.
there.
That was the first perfection.
Hmm.
2024.
Yes,
Yeah, so
2024
2023,
February.
2022, Chiron's getting really close to its first
Oh,
pass.
yeah. 22
No,
and
I'm sorry. I'm
23.
sorry. I lied. It was actually, I'm sorry guys. I missed one of the crossovers. It was actually May of 2023.
Was the first
No,
perfection.
February. No, no. Yeah, no, February was the first perfection. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was going
2023.
backwards.
Yeah, so
February
I'm saying like
2023.
2022 around the year 2022 I would expect like the Chiron issues to start like popping up, as in not the healing,
Yeah.
the wounding, right? Because everybody's all the wounded healer, and I'm really with Liz Green on Chiron and what it means astrologically. I think she's got Chiron's number, and she's not like all Pollyanna, and I really love Liz Green for that reason. But because it's like there's a lot of like anger and spite, and it's because it's about Chiron's wound is about it's not fair. It's about where life is just not fair and it sucks and you got to deal with this shit and it's not fair. you know, that's the Chiron wound.
Yeah.
Not, oh, I'm all healing and shit. No, you can get to that place, but you have to deal with
Oh,
all that spite first. And I would
dude,
expect for you, like 2022 ish, would be like your gut, the bile and the poison of Chiron is of the wound is like surfacing. Does that
yeah.
track?
Like enough of this shit. Like enough of
That
this shit energy. I'm sorry. I want you to be able to respond fully, Vaughn, but I just wanted to throw in here really quick in terms of timing to fill this out that May of 2020, Chiron hit that MC and then Mars. So it could have been as early as 2020, but to exact Aaron's point. So yeah, I'll leave it there.
Yeah, I did not fully understand Chiron and its impact in my life until 2022. I mean, and I was going through it. Like when I think of Chiron, like I am so grateful for Chiron. I truly am because it has been my deepest work, honestly. But I mean, there's nothing Pollyanna about Chiron. No, I mean, it is literally like, I mean, it will reach in and grab the depths of your pain and be like, yeah, see, what are you going to do about this? And I'm like, oh God. So, I
So
mean, it really is just like, to me, it's been such a gift to understand Chiron because for me, it has literally been the very thing that has helped me ignite my life and be able to expand into my leadership. Truly, my heart led leadership. Like I didn't, I had a lot of wounding around leadership. That word just gave me the heebie jeebies. And I really had to wrap my head around it. Like, well, I'm leading myself, so therefore I'm a leader. I am healing my heart. I'm leading with my heart, so therefore I am a heart led leader. So the more I can kind of like allow myself to be a heart led leader because I'm leading myself, therefore I am a leader. Right. And so I feel like Chiron really helped me work with that or embrace that part of myself.
it sounds like you're
Mm.
see you have contact between the sun and Chiron, right? So and it's pretty, they're 4 degrees apart. So the square. So you have the square. And the square can be uh is really like the hardest aspect. And when it's close like that to a light, your sun, and then also it's loosely in a T square with the moon and the sun. Um, and because your sun, right, is at your ascendant, right? So that Chiron is contacting your sun and your ascendant by square. And then
Yeah.
opposing, your Uranus moon, and your moon's your chart ruler. So like there's just a lot. I can see, Susan, why you kept wanting to have her on before the Chiron episode, because it's like, yeah, this is a Chiron chart. It really is, because it's like it's both the lights are involved, the ascendant's involved, the 10th house, and you also have Chiron Mars. That's going to be pretty difficult. And you have Mars. Yeah, it's actually Chiron Mars medium Chali, because you have Mars. Your
Mm-hmm.
MC Mars are conjunct, and that is a big contact as well. I know the Gauquelins talked about a lot about that placement with Mars at the MC being a place for like great leadership, and like I think it's the great athletes have that. I want to say is one of
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm. Especially in Aries. Aries can
yeah,
be
one of the
very.
significations
Mm-hmm.
there of Mars at the MC. And so, but that's within 9 degrees of Chiron. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway,
Yeah.
that's a lot again.
Well,
Sorry. I have Gemini
well,
rising, so I can just go and go.
no, but to what you're saying, just to kind of break that down a little bit, because I think you're saying a lot there in terms of the
Yeah.
astrology and what you're pointing to, and what Jupiter now on the sun, right? That Cancer sun in the first house, an angular sun. You have a very strong sun. Even though your sun isn't in Leo, like it's not in rulership, because you have the sun in the first house, in terms of another layer of signification of leadership, a first house sun operates a lot like a Leo sun in many ways, because that angularity of identity in the world. And yet, because you have the south node there, and the south node tends to be wherever it shows up in the chart. I mean, that's a little bit of like a gnarly south node in terms of, if you were just looking at it, it's like it's not the easiest place to have the life giving, life force, vital planet, the sun, with the south node, which tends to like pull energy out, or it can be connected to like early loss, or feel like places that energy can be drained, right? Or places that the soul comes in with a lot of gifts and a lot of wisdom and a lot of detachment from the ego in the material world. So, like on a purely ego level, the sun wants to assert and be, strong and be the leader, right? And if you think of it like Leo energy, but then the South Node is so much about dissolution of the ego that there's a fight almost between building oneself up and then just being like, what's it all for? This is all just kind of a mirage anyway. Like, what's it's seeing through the lens of the soul. The South Node is like, there's a lot of gifts, especially in Cancer, of water and healing, but then feeling like, who am I? You said a couple times, I didn't know who I was, right? And so that South Node with the sun is like, and it does point, the sun is, kind of authority figures. And so like he's saying, with that square to that midheaven, that Mars, that Chiron, this dynamic square of like friction and challenge. Square energy tends to be right where we have to really push, like a plant pushes through soil to get out to the surface, right? But that in that challenge, in that difficulty and friction, you tend to master in many ways much better than you would have whatever it is that you're striving for. So in some ways, the loss around the sun energy, or the authority energy, and the questioning of who am I, in terms of the masculine aspect of my core, that pushing through and the challenge and the friction has shown you in some ways even more who you are than you would have had things gone smoothly and easily and all flowing in trines and, in astrological language, kind of the spoon fed, well, this is who I am, because this is who, my father and his grandfather's father were. Because a lot of times the lineage of the sun is sort of blotted out when you have that South Node karmic signature, right? But there's a lot of, you still have, like in Vedic astrology, you still have like an incredibly powerful sun. So it's a magic. It's like, in spite of, and maybe because of this sense of self is very, very strong, you know? Um, so yeah, I think with Jupiter being on that sun right now, and like you said, you traveled everywhere last year, and that's when you were having Jupiter, deals with international travel, but it's like, okay, now what, I wanted to go back to something that Aaron mentioned too about the fruits of Chiron, in the
I
next
want to stay
year
on the
and
nodes for a
Saturn.
minute. I'd
Go
like to say
ahead.
something about the nodes, just to continue
Sure,
before we
sure.
move on.
Okay.